Hello, I'm Sarah. You can also call me Pixie. I enjoy reading adult fantasy and love talking about books. If that's something that you're into, please consider subscribing. Today I wanted to talk about the books and series that I am going to be attempting to prioritize in 2023. The first series I would like to prioritize is Mistborn Era 2. I was lucky enough for Christmas to be gifted a bind-up ebook copy of the last 3 books of the Mistborn saga. I don't know a whole lot about these books. I know we follow 2 gentlemen, Wax and Wayne, and that it's kind of a Western setting. We continue in the same world as the first 3 books, but it's many years later. I fairly recently, finished The Hero of Ages, I think was the last book of the first era, and I would like to now complete the whole Mistborn saga. The next series I would like to prioritize is the Furyk Saga by A.E. Rain. This is a series I started at the end of 2021, I think, with the first book, and to my utter dismay, I only managed 1 additional book of this series in 2022. There are 6 books in total, so I have 4 more books to go, and I now own all 4. So this is a series that could definitely help me get my own TBR read. The Furyk Saga follows a female protagonist, Jael, as she is married off by her evil uncle who just took the throne because her father recently passed away. And she does not want to marry this guy, but it is a political marriage and she has no choice. Utter chaos and whatnot ensues. There's a bit of magic and prophecies and a bit of military how-to, I guess. I don't know how to say it. She, in her own right, is actually a very good strategist in terms of war and battles, and comes out on top, usually. The man that she is married off to is basically a drunk, has given up on life, and also doesn't want to go through with the marriage. Somehow, through the first story, they find some common ground and end up meeting, I guess, in the middle and finding, I don't know that it's love per se right away, but they get along, kind of. I am not describing the series well enough. It has unfortunately been way too long since I have read the book. I don't even remember the names of these 2 kingdoms. One of them is an island country, and they are married for, the combining of the families, because her uncle wants the sea boats that this island community has. And yeah, the second book, though, where I left off, there was a key event in the end, and it is definitely cliffhanger, and so I am very interested and anxious to get to the next book. So why I haven't picked it up yet, I don't know. This next series comes highly recommended on quite a few booktube channels that I've seen, and I actually included on a list that I wanted to get to last year. I unfortunately was not able to, and that is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is another series that I unfortunately don't really remember what it's supposed to be about, just that it comes highly recommended and it sounded interesting to me at the time, and so I would like to pick it up. I own at least the first book, I don't remember if I have any others after the first book, so I'm not sure how much this series is going to help me with my own TBR, so this might be interesting. I would also be interested in reading The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang. Sorry, I had to look at my cheat sheet. This won the SBFBO awards in 2019-2020. Since then, it has made the booktube rounds, high praises sung all around, and I got it for Christmas somewhere around there, or a birthday, I don't remember. I was gifted a copy, and again, I have not read the book yet. I don't know what is wrong with me. This next series involves a book that I do not own. I have read the first book, which is Ignatius and the Swords of Nostau? I don't know how to pronounce it. I received a copy for review from the publisher via NetGalley a while back, read the book, loved it. There is a review out on my blog if you want to check that out. And the second book, Ignatius and the Battle at Aphareion? The AON at the end is seriously throwing me off on pronunciation, but that book came out September of last year, and so I need to get my grubby little hands on the book so I can catch up in the series. Ignatius is essentially a 13-year-old, I think. He is somehow running away from bullies one minute and thrown into an entirely different world in the next. And somewhere in this, he is kind of prophesized, I believe, to save the world. So this first book covers his initial journey, and it is a wild ride. Because he's not a fighter, and so he needs to be trained. And he starts his training. He's really bad at it. If I remember though from the first book, the prophecy involves him defeating after he's like 16 or 17 or something, so we have a while for him to grow. And so I'm interested in the second book to see how he further grows to save this world. The Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I feel like I am a bad fantasy lover for not having read this trilogy yet. Like, I read the first book, listened to it on audio actually, loved it, couldn't stop it, kept speeding it up because I was catching and getting into it so much. Listened to it in less than a day, I think. But then wanted that experience again, and so I purposefully didn't pick up the next books because I couldn't have the day or more to put aside and actually know that I could read and enjoy the next book and finish it in a day. And I think at this point I'm going to have to accept that I am not going to be able to finish these books in a day because they're freaking massive. And I'm at a point in my life where having an entire day to read a book just doesn't exist anymore. So I'm gonna have to find some time and reread the first book at this point because it's been at least 5 years, probably more like 6 or 7 since I read the first book. I tried listening to it again at some point, but the on and off, in and out, I was having trouble keeping up with the book, so I think I might have to go with a physical or ebook copy. I think I actually might own the ebook copy, but I was trying again to do the audio thing, and it wasn't happening. So this one will be an ebook read probably. And then of course I have to read the next 2 books. I know I have the second book. I don't know if I have the third. I might have to save up for that one. This next series is another one I just need to catch up on. That is King's Dark Tidings by Cal Cade. This is a self/indie published series by Cal Cade. She also has the Shrouds of Prophecy, I believe, which is supposed to be a trilogy, I think, published by Tor. She is last update on her website was that she was still writing the 3rd book of the trilogy, but it looks like the website hasn't been updated in a while, so I don't know what the actual current status is. She's apparently so in the zone, so into the love of writing that she hasn't taken the time to update the website, so I don't know. I also don't know when the next Rezkin, King's Dark Tidings book will come out. But 1 came out, actually 2 came out last year. There was a prequel that we got, Mage of No Renown. I read it, I loved it. And it wasn't until the end that I figured out and was reminded of the character connection, and poof, I remember my mind just exploding and being like, oh my god, this is gonna be so cool for this character coming up. So I'm very excited for this series, but the 5th book, I think it was, of the series came out in like September. I own it, I just haven't read it yet. I'm kind of biding my time on this one because this is a like binge-worthy series where you read one and you want the next one, and then you want the next one, and then you want the next one, but they're not all out yet. So I've kind of been dragging my feet since we don't know when the next book is coming out, because I know I'm gonna want the 6th book. In King's Dark Tidings, we follow a somewhat young man going by the name of Rezkin. He carries the name of an infamous fictional character, or presumed fictional character, the Rez. The Rez is known to bring the king's dark tidings to areas and carry out the king's dirty works and basically work as an assassin and do these amazing adventures kind of deal. Rezkin himself has been essentially raised from infancy. I think there's a prologue, and then chapter 1 is him kind of growing up at this training fort, being trained by the kingdom's seriously best swordsmen, craftsmen, political people, and etc. And he's just reading and absorbing all this knowledge. So he has this very skewed view of the world. He doesn't know what friendship is, he doesn't know what love is, he doesn't know what happy is. He's just like, what is this? I don't understand what you're talking about. Somehow this clicks and is interesting to me to have this I don't understand what you're talking about when these things are so simple to some of the rest of us. So we follow Rezkin as he learns about friendship, love, and all of the basics of emotions, other than just stoic, I guess. And he teaches his friends and the high society elite what it means to be a noble, and all while some craziness is happening because the king's eldest son has taken the throne as the king has died. Except the eldest son is not a nice person and should not be king. He has a younger brother, but the younger brother, Prince Thespian? I don't remember. He is MIA, presumed dead, but whereabouts unknown. And the kingdom is just up in flames. And so they're traveling through this kingdom that is falling to pieces. And Ruskin starts to take on this different role, and he has all kinds of different sides that he keeps secret from his friends to protect them. And there are secrets that I want to reveal but can't say, and just go read the series. If you haven't, go read the series. It's available on Amazon. Unfortunately, only Amazon. Go support Calcade. Go buy the King's Dark Tidings series. It starts with Free the Darkness. You'll be hooked. I'd also like to finish Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This is a series I started last year. I borrowed the first 2, maybe 3. I have to look at my tracker again to see where I'm at. Books from my library and read them, loved them, and would just like to continue. This series has been around for many years, I feel like, but I am just now finally getting around to reading it. So I don't know that I really need to get into what it's about. Go look it up if you need to. It's a YA series. It's not adult. It's a YA series. The last book in this list is one that I'm hesitant about, but also intrigued. Fairy Tale by Stephen King. For those that don't know me, I'm not great at gore and horror, which Stephen King is known for. So I must have lost my mind to read Stephen King, but I have very hesitantly in the past. Now I've read 1 or 2 books by Stephen King, including the first book of the first book is Gunslinger, but it's the Dark Tower series, I believe is the name of the series. So I've read the first book. Haven't necessarily continued. I'm very hesitant because Stephen King has a reputation, and it is not one that works well with my imagination. My very wild imagination. I don't need a whole lot of description for my mind to just go crazy. So I'm hesitant, but just the title, Fairy Tale, and I know that I can read some Stephen King, so I'm hoping this is one that I can get through. I was gifted this book, and I would like to read it and see if I can survive another Stephen King. And those are the books/series that I would like to prioritize in 2023. Do you have any books or series in particular that you would like to prioritize this year and try and catch up on or get through? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time. TTFN!